Hello and welcome to another episode on our series of contemporary Western philosophers. Last time we had a brief intro of Gabriel Marcel. Today we shall dive into his philosophy of the world. Now, as we have already seen, Gabriel Marcel's philosophy is quite unique because he focuses on experience, reflection, and the mystery of existence rather than rigid logic or abstract theories. Now, we also see that Marcel was deeply interested in understanding reality, but instead of creating big abstract concepts or theories like how some philosophers do, he focused on how we experience the world personally. His way of doing philosophy was different from traditional philosophers, as he believed philosophy should be deeply connected to human experience, relationships, and the mystery of life. And so, with that, we come to his first concept of concrete approaches. Now, Marcel believed that philosophy should not be about proving theories with strict logic. Instead, he said it should be about approaching reality in a concrete way, meaning that we should reflect on our own experiences and explore reality through different perspectives. Now, imagine you are trying to understand the meaning of love. A traditional philosopher might try to define love using logic and rules. But Marcel would say you can only understand love by experiencing it through relationships, emotions, and connections with people. And now we may ask, what do these concrete approaches really mean? Now, we see that instead of focusing on abstract theories, Marcel explores real life experiences. And philosophy for him is not about reaching the final answer, but it is about engaging in a continuous process of thinking and reflecting on life. And therefore, he believes that understanding reality is like a journey. We don't just find answers, we experience them. For example, if you want to understand what it means to be happy, you can't just read a book about happiness. You need to experience joy in real life. That is, by spending time with loved ones, by helping others, or feeling fulfilled in your work. Similarly, philosophy is not just about reading theories, but about deeply reflecting on and living those ideas. And this brings us to the next important concept of Gabriel Marcel, that is problem and mystery. Now, Marcel makes a very important distinction between problems and mysteries. He believes that the modern society treats everything as a problem to be solved. But there are some things in life which are much deeper, and these are the mysteries which cannot be solved, but they can only be experienced. And that brings us to another question. What is a problem? Now, each one of us may have a different understanding of problems. Some may speak about the challenges that they face in life. Some may speak about issues, whether it be in relationship or work, etc. Some may refer to something as not working, and therefore that is a problem. So we all have a general kind of an understanding of problem that relates to each and every one of us. But when it comes to Marcel, Marcel would say that a problem is something that is external to us, like a puzzle or a technical issue. Next, he says that problems have clear solutions. Now, once you solve them, they go away. And problems are impersonal. In a way, they don't require deep reflection. For example, fixing a broken car engine is a problem. Why? Because you analyze the issue, you find the right tools, and then you repair it. Once it is fixed, you can move on. So, we have already tried to see what is a problem. Let's take a look at what is a mystery. Now, a mystery is something we are deeply involved in. It is not something to be solved, but it is something to be experienced and explored. And therefore, Marcel will say that mysteries cannot be, in a way, reduced to a single answer. Why? Because they are, in a way, connected to life's deeper meaning. And he says, unlike problems, mysteries in a way involve personal reflection and participation. For example, the meaning of life is a mystery. For example, you can't just solve the meaning of life with an answer like 42, as in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Instead, you have to live through experiences, relationships, and struggles to understand it in a personal way. And that brings us to the difference between a problem and a mystery. Now, a problem is like solving a math equation, whereas mystery is understanding what love is. A problem will involve something like fixing a leaking faucet, whereas mystery is finding the meaning of suffering. A problem could be planning a schedule, whereas a mystery could be feeling a deep connection with another person. And therefore, we see that modern society treats everything as a problem, as if all difficulties in life could be solved with logic, science, or technology. But Marcel warns us that some of the most important aspects of life, like love, faith, suffering, hope, and the meaning of existence, are not problems. They are indeed mysteries. For example, if someone asks you, why do people suffer? A scientist may say, suffering happens because of our biological or environmental causes. But Marcel would say that suffering is a mystery, not just a problem to be explained. We must experience it, reflect on it, and find personal meaning on it. And therefore, as we have said, modern society treats everything as a problem. We are so focused in a way on fixing and solving that we forget to reflect on the experiences of life, and we forget even to experience life itself. Next, we see that mysteries require personal involvement. You cannot just read a book about love, happiness, or faith. You have to live through them. And ultimately, mysteries connect us to something greater. Instead of controlling everything, we need to, in a way, embrace the unknown. And you need to, in a way, engage with life's deeper questions. Example, if a person only focuses on making money, they might treat life as a problem to be solved. In the sense, how do I get rich? But if they reflect on their relationships and purpose, they will realize life is a mystery to be experienced. That is what makes us truly happy. And therefore, this brings us to Gabriel Marcel's concept of mystery. Now, Marcel's idea of mystery is one of his most important philosophical contributions. He argues that some questions in life cannot be solved like a problem. They must be lived, experienced, and reflected upon. One such mystery is being itself, the very fact that we exist. Now, a mystery is something that we are deeply involved in. So, unlike a problem which is separate from us and can be solved, mystery is something we experience from within. For example, imagine standing in front of a massive ocean. You can study the water's chemical composition, you can measure the waves, and you can also analyze marine life. And by doing all this, you are treating the ocean as a problem. But can you truly understand the ocean just by analyzing it? No. The feeling of standing before the vast ocean, hearing the waves, sensing the depth and mystery of the water, that itself is a mystery. Similarly, when we think about existence itself, we cannot treat it as an object to be analyzed. We are part of it. We exist, and therefore we are directly involved with the question of being. So we are directly, in a way, involved in the question of being. Next, Marcel will speak about the mistake of problematization. Marcel warns against what he calls problematization, that is, the habit of breaking everything down into parts and trying to analyze them as if they were separate from us. Now, many philosophers, he argues, treat existence, that is being, as if it were an object that they could study from a distance. But this is a mistake. Why is this a mistake? Because we are part of being. We cannot separate ourselves from it. Imagine a fish trying to understand water. If the fish says, I will step out of the water to examine it, that would be impossible. The fish is always inside the water, just like we are always inside existence. We cannot step outside of being. We cannot step outside of our existence to observe it from a distance. Similarly, when we ask what is existence, we are not asking about something external, we are asking about ourselves because we exist. And Marcel will then speak about the subject object divide and why it doesn't work for being. Now, many philosophers divide reality into subject and object. Now, the subject, that is the thinker, would refer to I, because I am the one asking the question, whereas the object refers to the thing that is being thought about. That is what I observe. So it is that something that I observe, something that I study. Now, when you look at a tree, you are the subject and the tree is the object. You can study it, measure it, and analyze its leaves. However, Marcel says that when it comes to being, that is existence itself, this division doesn't work. We cannot step outside of being to observe it as an object because we are part of it. For example, asking what is existence is different from asking what is a tree. When you ask about a tree, you are separate from it. But when you are asking about existence, you are asking about something or something that you are already inside of. And when you look at the whole question of the ontological mystery here, for Marcel, the most profound mystery is what he would call as the ontological mystery, the mystery of being itself. So we do not have being like we have an object, we are being. Therefore, we cannot stand apart from it to question it like a scientist studying a rock. Instead, we must reflect on it from within. Imagine a person wondering why I am alive. This is not a question with a clear answer like a maths problem. It is a question that requires deep reflection, personal experience, and understanding that unfolds over time. And why is this all important? Why? Because we cannot treat existence as a mere problem. We are not separate from being. We are involved in it. This means that philosophy should not try to solve the question of existence like a math equation. Next, we see that true understanding requires participation. To grasp the mystery of being, we must live, we must experience, and we must reflect deeply on it. And ultimately, we see that life is not just about answers, but it is about engaging with mystery. Instead of reducing everything to logical explanations, we must try to, in a way, learn to embrace and reflect on the mystery of our own existence. And ultimately, when we take a look at living the mystery, we see that Marcel's philosophy will challenge us to go beyond facts and logics and explain the deeper aspects of life. And therefore, instead of treating everything as a problem to be solved, we must recognize that some things such as love, faith, and meaning of life are mysteries to be experienced. Next time you ask, what is the meaning of life? Don't just look for a quick answer. Instead, reflect, experience, and engage with the mystery because you are part of it. This brings us to the end of Marcel's philosophy of the world. Next time, we shall take a look at his philosophy of man, where he will speak about being in a situation and intersubjectivity. So till then, see you.